Yo, what's going on, everyone? Shipmonkey here. Today we're looking at PTS Balance Round 2. Got decent reception about the first PTS Balance Round 1. Yeah, naturally, the round node wasn't round 0. Alright, so we're just gonna scroll through this quickly because there's mostly just one question really I have about the balance here, how you guys feel about it. So let's just get into it, and I'll do my little theory at the end there. So AMC seeing a nerf after his insane Worlds performance. Really strong character, just really ran people down. Didn't really seem to have much problems with survivability. Only if he got behind early did he really have any issues. And for the most part, he was just really strong. And the only times he really lost was when it was hyper aggressive junglers, really. Was when he lost, and for the most part he was just running through people, so they're touching him a little bit. You don't want to go too ham on the boy AMC. I mean, yeah, he's a problem when he's very strong, but I do think he's a really cool character when he's meta, and I also think he's a character that if you nerf him even a little bit too much, he starts becoming just garbage. So I think you got to be careful with him. Hell, seeing another nerf, decreased duration of light heal and move speed buff from 6 seconds to 5 seconds on God's minions. This gives one less heal tick and shortens the move speed buff. That's really rough. So, she actually is healing for less. I wish they would give us the numbers, but also giving less move speed. I think the move speed was actually a really big problem with the character. It was one of the reasons why even if you stack 110% anti-heal, her heal going off was still a problem. So, I'm not saying they necessarily need to remove the slow or something, but maybe just make the AoE smaller, I guess. It doesn't have to be the same size as the Dark Sands 3. So, of course, don't want Hell in the dirt or anything. Hell's a cool character. She's just annoying to play against is all. Olorun seeing a nerf. This is very sad to me. I wish Olorun just had like a whole season where he was good. He deserves it. Like he's such a cool character, and he was so not good for a very long time. Still really decent hyper carry, a really good character if you want to one trick him. If you get really good at Olorun, you get rewarded for that. That's for sure. But I do wish he was meta for a little bit longer. But yeah, they're decreasing Olorun's critical strike chance, critical strike damage. Sorry, from 1.55 to 1.5. Not only was he strong, but also Hunter's the physical crit is getting a reduction as well. So they're toning that down a little bit. Okay. Obviously, there are some changes being made to mage ADC items as well, making them a little bit stronger as well as a little bit weaker here and there. Flip flopping all about in terms of balance changes. So they just want to keep Olorun in check. Makes sense. He was really decent at World. So okay. Then decreased Heimdallr crit strike damage from 1.65 to 1.55 definitely makes sense. Heimdallr still one of the hardest hitting characters in the game. Rightfully so. I do think he's a really cool character as well. A lot of cool characters seeing some nerfs here. But, yeah, awesome character. But, yeah, he's probably hitting too hard in comparison with other hunters, especially considering the critical strike damage. Because, of course, he was still getting an even bigger bonus in terms of critical strike damage. So, got to bring that down to bring him more in line. Gebachino. He's getting another nerf in addition to his Geb shield nerfs, decreasing the amount of critical strike damage the Geb mitigates from 75 to 65. Of course, because since the crits are doing less damage, he was mitigating way too much at 75. So bringing it down to sort of match it. This isn't a one-to-one match, but obviously they're decreasing it in relation to the critical strike damage reduction. So yeah, this is, oh my god, wait, how does math work? Bruh, what percentage is 10 out of 75? I don't even know. It's probably really easy and I'm just missing it. Well, if you do that, is it 2.5%? No, not 2.5. Not 25%. We're gonna move on. So they're reducing the heal on Meditation Cloak. Yeah, it sounded like it was way too high, and it was too high. I'm not really sure why this was being buffed whatsoever. This made absolutely no sense to me. Naturally, I wanted to get through things as fast as I could in the patch notes, and, didn't want to do too explosive reactions or anything to be fake or whatever. But yeah, it made absolutely no sense for them to be buffing Meditation Cloak. It was a decent relic all throughout, pretty much from the time it got changed to what it is now. It's been good, so I don't really know why they decided to buff it. Greater Meditation Cloak, of course, also seeing the reduction to match the starter one. And Cloak of the Avatar, of course, seeing a reduction. And Cloak of the Aztecs or whatever. Sorry, I probably should have looked that up before I did this. But yeah, that's also seeing a nerf to it. This was the stronger of the healers. So this is now going to be what they wanted this to be originally. The original Meditation Cloak to be. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It just... this whole thing, it just didn't make sense to buff it, and that'll sort of lead into what that theory was at the end there that I was going to talk about. That sort of leads into that. We'll get into that soon. Magic Shell, as I said, I thought this was way too high at 25%. So the 25% debuff going down on Magic Shell in the upgrade. And Fortifying Shell, also seeing a decrease on the basic attack damage debuff. Again, all of this I said was just too high. It just seemed too high. And a decreased damage mitigation buff after the shield fades from 20 to 15. That was the one that lingered. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense too. And then Spectral Armor, decreasing the passive critical strike chance reduction even further, another 15%. I think they only did it by 10% before, and so now this is going to be a total of 25% reduction from what Spectral Armor was originally. Yeah, so going even further down, so we're getting towards the end of the balance here, so hopefully I can start saying my theory soon. Having the decreased basic attack damage debuff from 30 to 15%, literally half the percentage they originally plotted on for this item. Jotunn's Vigor seeing a nerf, that's kind of sad, but I mean they did buff Soul Eater with it. I didn't get the chance to actually try. I did try Jotunn's Vigor, but I didn't try Jotunn's Vigor and Soul Eater together. I think that would have been really funny. I mean, what is that like? That would have been like 70% ability lifesteal, physical ability lifesteal if you had the Jotunn's Vigor passive active. So that would have been really funny. Yeah, it was definitely just too high, because I mean obviously Jotunn's Wrath, great item. Jotunn's Vigor, this passive was absolutely excellent. Was proccing it all the time. So yeah, definitely needed to be brought down a little bit. This one was really interesting. Typhon's Fang, seeing a decreased healing obtained from magical lifesteal bonus from 30 to 25%. They say this is to hit the mage ADCs because they were a little bit stronger during the SWC. Yeah, I get it, but this was just a little strange to me because Typhon's Fang is a magical item, and it's a magical item that's applicable on both the regular mages as well as mage ADCs. So they're buffing it, they're nerfing it for the mage ADCs, but it doesn't, I don't know, like you're just nerfing another mage item, right? I know it synergizes really well with the mage ADC builds, I understand that. It's just a little lame that mages are getting another item nerfed because another role is utilizing their class, and yeah, and they're using this item, so now it just gets nerfed. Well, I know only pretty much like Anubis would build this, but still, hey, they're getting affected. Okay, bro. Now here's another one. All right, so there's all these as well. I'll scroll down here, and then you can just pause here if you'd like to read all of these. I'm not going to get into this because this is all just very technical. We're going to have to feel this out. Really interesting. The spawn time changes are definitely interesting if you guys want to check this out. I think this item in particular is going to epitomize what I think was a little strange about this patch, and what I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say in the comments about this, or you know, if my friends are watching this, we could talk about it later in Discord or whatever. So Blackthorn Hammer reverted the item to its original stats and then applied the following nerfs: increased cost to 2300 instead, and decrease of physical power from 40 to 25. Okay, so this is basically where Blackthorn was at the start of the season, just with 5 less power, but with more HP. Yeah, really strange. So they just scrapped the entire idea of putting protections on it, making it cost 2450. Scrapped all of those ideas and just started over again. So my idea with this here is, it feels like they really, okay, these changes are obviously based off SWC, but from Geb and below, and also with the balance changes in the first round as well, those are just bugs, and the changes of the first round as well, did they do any testing with these at all is my question. Like, did they do any testing with these whatsoever, or did they just put what stats they felt were good on these particular items, created it and put it into the game, didn't test it, and just pushed it out to PTS for us to test it? I mean, the general reception has been good. People are like, hey, they're really listening to what we have to say about the balancing of these items, and of course the bug fixes as well. You have to give them credit. They really fixed a lot of bugs during just this PTS time, and they've done a ton of balance changes during this PTS time as well. So my question is to you guys: do you feel like, if I'm not saying that was the situation, but it does feel like they sort of just put the stats in as they were, didn't do internal testing, and then just let us test it on the PTS. Let the pros and high-level players do their thing, talk their shit on Twitter, on Twitch, let the clips circulate and stuff like that, so that they could get a good idea of what players are feeling. and then just balance it around that. Because I mean, some of these items are being halved in terms of what their original stats were. Some of them are being reverted, like Blackthorn are being reverted to what they were before, so that they could just start again and try and balance it from there. I mean, Spectral, again, that almost got halved in terms of its effectiveness. Yeah, like the Typhons is interesting as a. Okay, so Typhons I wouldn't count towards that, but yeah, and then like 40% physical ability, lifesteal on Jotunn's Vigor passive. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like they personally did the testing and then just gave it around to us. So do you think that signifies an internal problem, that their internal testing isn't very good? Like, if they internally tested these things, did they not have an ADC attack someone like with Spectral on, attack someone with the Breastplate and the Spectral on at the same time, and like pop a shell and then pop the horrific relic on them as well? Did they not test that? Are they just like playing regular conquest games, then whatever happens happens, and like they're not testing specific interactions? Because especially with some of the hunter changes, it really feels like specific interactions were not being tested. And stacking some of these anti hunter items, especially, or stacking some of these glyphs together on say assassins, like with the malicious deathbringer and things like that. It doesn't really feel like that was at least specifically tested, because I mean, why would you even, like, why would you put, what was it, the Breastplate of Vigilantes or whatever? Sorry, I forget what it's called. Breastplate of Vigilance. Like, why would you even ship that? Like, if someone built this specifically, and then you said, okay, hey, we're 20 minutes into the game, come into right lane and try and auto-attack me down a little bit, and then they would see, wait, that's way too much defense there. That's way too much. What are we doing? We got to nerf that before we put it out into the BTS. It feels like situations like that just didn't happen. Or maybe the stats were even crazier than this. It's just hard to know for sure. I would definitely appreciate knowing exactly what they test, how they test it. If they're just hopping into conquest matches with their test teams and just playing it out, seeing how it feels, and writing notes as they go, or are they testing specific interactions as well in addition to that, or are they only testing specific interactions? Yeah, I would like to know. I would like to know. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think they're doing both, and like they're doing the best they can, and this is just what they came up with, and they're just doing their best with the feedback, or are they relying? Do you feel too heavily, or do you appreciate that they rely heavily on high-level players' analysis of the PTS? And I would be down for that if they were just a little more forthright with it. If that's what's going on, I would be totally down for them to say these stats are. We know some of these stats are overblown. Just let us know what's overblown, and we'll try and adjust it. Something like that. And they just say, these stats aren't final. Like, okay, well, I guess that much. But, are you listening to us directly? Not specifically who are you listening to, but where do you go for your information? Do you just go around Twitter circles, Twitch circles? I'm sure they try and get everything. But, what's being... what type of players do you take feedback from? Do you take direct feedback from pro players? And how highly is that rated? Things like that. So that's what I would like to know moving forward in terms of, like... Because obviously, this would mostly only be effective in... Because you can't really have this going on every single patch. I think that would just make complete chaos of the SMITE community. But, for, like, mid-season updates, for season updates, I think it'd be appreciated to know exactly what goes on in terms of the background testing, and then as for high-level players' analysis of the current changes, how highly is it rated, what do they take from, how much of it do they take, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I guess it's all a matter of perspective, really. What do you guys think? I talked actually for a lot longer than I thought I would about this, but yeah, that's about it for the PTS balance round 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you like these balance changes? Do you love them, hate them? What do you think about my theory going on there? Let me know. Thanks for watching.